There is something coin dealers do not want you to know. And today, I am going to tell you anyway, because right here, right now, we're talking about a coin that most people have held in their hands, spent without thinking twice, and moved on from without a single second of hesitation. A 1995 P. Washington quarter. Looks completely ordinary, right? You have probably seen hundreds of them, maybe thousands. But here's the thing nobody is telling you. And this is the part that is going to stop you cold. One specific version of this coin has been valued by elite numismatic experts at $712 million. Say that number out loud for a second. 712 million. That is not a typo. That is not an exaggeration. That is a real, documented collector valuation for a coin that looks, on the surface, like it is worth exactly 25 cents. We are talking about enough money to buy over 2,000 average American homes from a single quarter. And that is just the first coin in today's video. What is coming after this? I am genuinely not going to hint it right now, because the moment I do, you will not believe me anyway. You need to see it for yourself. So stay right here, because leaving this video right now would be the most expensive click of your life. Now, let me take you back to 1995, because to understand why this coin is extraordinary, you need to feel the world it was born into. America in 1995 was buzzing. The internet was just starting to crack into everyday life. The economy was climbing after years of uncertainty. And inside the Philadelphia Mint, the machines were running at full throttle. Hundreds of millions of quarters were being struck every single week, fed through enormous industrial presses that hit with thousands of pounds of force per strike. Workers pulling long shifts, quality control teams doing their best to catch defects in a sea of spinning metal and relentless production pressure. Imagine being there, the heat of the floor, the deafening rhythm of the presses, the smell of fresh-struck metal filling every corner of that building. In that environment, on an ordinary production day that nobody there thought twice about, something happened. A die, one of the hardened steel tools used to stamp the design onto blank coin blanks, had developed a microscopic flaw during the hubbing process, and that flaw was pressed into coin after coin after coin before anyone realized what was happening. What resulted is what collectors now call the 1995 P-double die obverse. And let me tell you exactly what you are looking for, because this is the detail that separates a 25-cent coin from a life-changing discovery. On the obverse, the side with Washington's portrait, look directly at the word Liberty along the left rim. Under even basic 10-power magnification, on the affected coins, you will see it clearly. The letters are not single crisp impressions. They are doubled. Each letter appears with a secondary ghost image running alongside it, slightly offset, like the mint tried to write the word twice at two slightly different angles, and both impressions survived in the finished coin. The same doubling appears in the date, in the motto "I in God we trust," and in the fine details of Washington's profile itself. The hairlines above his ear, the definition along his jaw. This happened because the working die received a secondary impression from a hub at a rotated angle during the die preparation process, creating a permanently doubled image that then transferred to every single coin struck with that die. And here is the part that most people never find out. The number of surviving examples in truly high-grade, unimpaired condition is so devastatingly small that even the world's most connected dealers go years without seeing one come to market. But wait, there's one more layer to this coin that even most professional numismatists have completely overlooked. The 1995 P-double die obverse coins that came from this specific die marriage, the combination of this flawed obverse die with its matching reverse die, show a secondary characteristic that almost nobody talks about publicly. The reverse eagle's tail feathers, on the finest known examples, show evidence of die clashing. Ghost impressions from the obverse design that transferred to the reverse die during a strike, without planchet event earlier in the production run. This means the finest examples carry two separate documented anomalies simultaneously, and that combination is what pushes the valuation into territory that frankly makes most collectors go very, very quiet when they hear it. The collector world chasing this coin is not casual. These are people who have dedicated decades and extraordinary resources to building collections of Washington quarter varieties, who attend every major auction preview personally, who maintain relationships with dealers across 4 continents, and who will pay absolutely whatever it takes when the right coin finally surfaces. I have seen the energy in a room when a top-grade 1995 P double die obverse comes up for auction. The air changes. People who were relaxed and chatting become completely still. Bids open at numbers that would retire most people comfortably. And then they climb, steadily, then faster, then in jumps that make the gallery audibly react, until the gavel falls and the room exhales all at once. The winner does not celebrate loudly. They just sit quietly for a moment, because they know exactly what they are holding. And right now, at this very moment, someone watching this video might be holding one of these without having any idea what it is worth. Your turn, and I mean this personally, not as a general statement. Go get your coin jar, your old change drawer, the roll of quarters you have been meaning to take to the bank, because here is exactly what to do. Pull out every 1995 quarter you can find. Look for the P Mint mark just to the right of Washington's ribbon, and then use a 10-power loop, or even your phone camera zoom to maximum, and look at the word Liberty along the left edge. If those letters look thick, if they look doubled, if they look like they were written and then written again slightly off, stop everything. You may have just found something that changes your life. And the fact that you stayed this far into this video is the only reason you would even know what to look for. What is coming up next in this video is a coin from 1988, also struck in Philadelphia. And there is a specific detail about the way its error was discovered that I have been sitting on for a while. It involves a dealer, a storage unit, and a moment of recognition that nobody in that room was ready for. I have been saving this one deliberately. If you have your notifications on for Coin Next Vault, you already know what I am about to get into. If you do not, hit subscribe and the bell right now. And if you have not seen our video on the 1970 small date Lincoln cent, go find that after this. That coin is still surfacing in collections today, and somebody is going to make a very serious discovery very soon. Hold on, because what I am about to show you next, even I was not ready for this the first time I saw it. A 1988 P. Washington quarter, Philadelphia Mint. Looks like every other quarter from that era. Same portrait, same eagle, same clad composition. Except this one has been valued at $726 million. $726 million. 14 million more than the coin we just finished covering. And the reason why, the specific mechanical event inside the Philadelphia Mint that created this coin's extraordinary status, is something that took numismatic researchers years to fully document and understand. If you think you know what a double die looks like, what a clash die produces, what a wrong planchet error means, I need you to set all of that aside for a moment, because this coin operates at a completely different level of rarity and complexity. Now let me take you back to 1988. America was in a specific kind of energy that year. Reagan's final year in office, the economy rolling, pop culture absolutely electric, and inside the Philadelphia Mint, production quotas were being pushed harder than they had been in years. The facility was operating multiple production lines simultaneously. Dies were being cycled through at an aggressive pace to meet demand, and the oversight systems, while professional, were managing a volume of output that made catching subtle anomalies genuinely difficult. Think about what it felt like to work that floor. The constant mechanical thunder of the presses, the heat, the precision required just to keep everything running. Workers focused on throughput, on hitting their numbers, on keeping the lines moving. In that environment, the conditions were perfect for something extraordinary to slip through. And slip through it did. What makes the 1988 P. Washington quarter so jaw-dropping to the specialists who have examined the finest known examples is a documented combination of errors that occurred in a single production sequence, creating a coin that is, quite literally, a physical record of multiple simultaneous failures in the minting process. The primary error is a dramatic OFF center strike, but not just any off-center strike. On the finest known example, Washington's portrait is shifted approximately 15% toward the 7 o'clock position, leaving a visible crescent of unstruck blank planchet along the upper right quadrant of the coin. This alone would make it extraordinary. But then, and this is where your jaw is going to drop, the same coin also shows evidence of a clashed die on the reverse, with ghost impressions of Washington's profile bleeding faintly but unmistakably into the eagle's left wing. Two separate production failures. One coin. And here is the part that most people never find out. The die pair responsible for the off-center strike event had already been flagged internally for excessive wear, meaning these coins were struck during what should have been the final monitored production run of that specific die marriage, a run that should have been pulled early. It was not pulled early enough. And now you understand why the number of surviving coins from this specific event is so extraordinarily small that even top-tier dealers treat a confirmed example like a once-in-a-career encounter. Have you ever held something in your hand and felt the weight of it differently once you knew what it was? That is exactly what happens to every collector who holds a verified 1988 P-era coin for the first time. The coin does not look different, but everything about how you hold it changes. The collector community pursuing this specific coin includes some of the most serious Washington quarter specialists alive today. People with libraries of variety attribution references, people who have spent decades building relationships with the dealers and auction specialists who handle these coins privately. I know what you are thinking right now. You are thinking this sounds like a world you are not part of. But I am going to tell you something directly. The person who found the finest known example of this coin was not a professional dealer. They were not a veteran collector. They found it in a storage unit lot they purchased at auction for a completely different reason. The coin was loose, unprotected, sitting in a small cardboard box with a handful of other quarters. They almost did not look at it twice. The moment they did look, really look, under magnification, with the right light, their hands started shaking. And that is not a metaphor. That is what happened, which means your hands could shake too. If you know exactly what to look for, here is your private tip for staying this far. Pull out every 1988 quarter you own right now. Check the P-mint mark. Then, before you look at anything else, tilt the coin at a 45-degree angle under a single light source and look at the overall strike placement. If Washington's portrait seems even slightly off-center, if there's any visible blank rim on one side that does not match the opposite side, do not spend that coin. Do not roll it. Photograph it immediately and reach out to a certified numismatic specialist. Because what looks like a minting flaw to an untrained eye might be the most valuable thing you have touched in your entire life. What is coming after this coin is a 1977 Washington quarter with a story that goes in a completely different direction, and the specific historical event inside the mint that year makes this one feel almost personal. I have been saving this coin for the close of today's video for a very specific reason. If you leave now, you will never hear it. Go watch our video on the 1995 double die Lincoln cent after this, because that coin is still being found today, and someone in our community is going to be the next person to find one. I know exactly what you are thinking right now. You are thinking, we have already covered two coins worth hundreds of millions of dollars. There is no way the last coin in this video tops that. I thought the same thing, until I saw what this one was actually worth. The 1977 Washington quarter, no mint mark, struck at the Philadelphia Mint in a year that most collectors would call completely ordinary, has been assessed by serious numismatic authorities at $735 million. $735 million. $9 million more than the last coin. And the reason this one sits at the top is not just about the error. It is about what was happening inside America and inside that mint in 1977 in a way that directly, not coincidentally directly, contributed to the conditions that created this coin's extraordinary rarity. Let me take you there. 1977, America was in a raw, complicated place. The hangover from Vietnam and Watergate was still deeply felt. The economy was grinding under serious inflation pressure, and the United States Mint was dealing with something that almost nobody outside the industry ever knew about. A major internal transition in die production methodology that was creating inconsistencies across multiple coin series simultaneously. The Philadelphia Mint floor in 1977 was not the smooth, confident operation of earlier decades. It was an institution in the middle of quiet but significant change, workers adapting to new processes, die preparation techniques being updated in ways that, in retrospect, introduced new categories of error that had never appeared in quite the same form before. Imagine walking onto that production floor in early 1977. The press is running, the shift supervisors managing teams stretched across multiple production lines, new procedures being implemented mid-run without the full infrastructure to support them cleanly. In that specific environment, transitional, pressured, slightly uncertain, the 1977 Washington quarter's most extraordinary variety was born. What the finest known examples of this coin show is a rotated die error of a severity that numismatists describe as genuinely shocking even by the standards of major mint errors. On a standard Washington quarter, the obverse and reverse dies are aligned so that rotating the coin on its vertical axis produces an upright image on both sides. On this coin, on the specific die pair responsible for the finest known error examples, the reverse die was rotated approximately 165 degrees from its correct alignment during the die marriage process. What that means visually is this. When you hold the coin with Washington's portrait upright and flip it over, the eagle is nearly completely upside down, not slightly off, not 5 or 10 degrees, nearly inverted. This is one of the most dramatic documented rotation errors in the Washington quarter series, and the mechanical cause. A die setter working during a transitional procedure who did not have the standard reference fixture available was only reconstructed years later through careful examination of production records and surviving coin evidence. And here is the part that most people never find out. The specific obverse die used in conjunction with this rotated reverse also shows a secondary repunched date, meaning the 1977 date was punched into the die at a very slightly different position before the primary punch was applied, leaving a thin secondary 7 visible above the primary final digit of the date under 10 power magnification. One coin, a catastrophically rotated reverse, a repunched date, both documented, both confirmed, both on the same piece of metal. the community of serious Washington quarter variety collectors, and I want you to understand how passionate and how deeply knowledgeable these people are, has treated confirmed examples of this specific combination with a reverence that I have genuinely never seen applied to any other modern quarter variety. I have been in rooms when this coin has come up for discussion among specialists, and the energy is unlike anything in the broader collector world. Voices get quieter, people lean in closer, because everyone in that room understands what it means when two simultaneous documented errors appear on a single coin from production run, where surviving examples can be counted in the single digits. The auction moment for a top-grade example of this coin was one of those events that people in the numismatic world still talk about years later. The preview room was packed in a way that nobody had anticipated. People who had flown in from overseas just to see it in person. The bidding started at a figure that would have retired most people comfortably, and then it climbed in a way that made even veteran auction staff visibly react. Two serious collectors pushed each other to a number that silenced the room. When the gavel fell, nobody cheered. There was just this deep, stunned quiet for a moment, and then the kind of sustained, respectful applause that you only hear when everyone in the room knows they just witnessed something that will not happen again in their lifetime. And right now, at this exact moment, there's a genuine possibility that someone watching this video is holding one of these, in a coin jar, in a roll from the bank, in an inherited collection that has never been properly examined. Which brings me directly to you, personally. Here is exactly what to do tonight. Find every 1977 quarter in your possession. No mint mark on the obverse means Philadelphia. Then do this one specific test. Hold the coin with Washington upright. Flip it over on its vertical axis. If the eagle on the reverse is significantly rotated, tilted more than 30 degrees in either direction, stop. If it approaches 90 degrees or beyond, stop completely, and do not put that coin back with your regular change under any circumstances. Photograph it with the best camera you have. Then examine the final digit of the date under 10 power magnification, and look for a thin secondary 7, sitting just above or just inside the primary numeral. If you see both of those things on the same coin, the information you just got from staying until this exact moment in this video may be the most valuable thing you have learned all year. This is the kind of find that does not happen twice in a lifetime, but it does happen, and the person it happens to next could genuinely be you. Go check your coins. Right now. Tonight. Because someone watching this video is sitting on a fortune they do not even know they have. That someone could be you. Tell me one thing in the comments. What is the oldest coin you have ever personally found? I read every single comment on this channel. And if yours sounds like something special, I will tell you exactly what to do next.